All right, welcome back to the Over 40s Fitness Podcast. My name's Tristan Lowe. Here we are mid-June, and today's guest, I've got Stephen Jones of
White 7 Lincoln, Chauffeur Services.
Nice to meet you, sir.
And you, Tristan.
Welcome back.
I'm very pleased to be back.
All right, okay, so the purpose of today's video is for me to introduce you to Stephen's profession as a chauffeur.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's start from the beginning. Explain to me and our audience, what's the difference between a chauffeur and a taxi driver?
Well, both fulfill the same role. They get you from A to B. I've always said that the difference between a taxi driver and a chauffeur is that a taxi driver will get you from A to B, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's the experience between the A and B that differentiates me from a taxi driver. So I'm more about how the client feels. It's not so much a transaction, it's more of an emotional experience, if you like. So
Okay. Yeah.
it is about the way I style that experience. So it is simple detail, like wearing the hat, the gloves, opening the door, making sure that they feel special, whether it be going to Heathrow Airport, out to dinner, to their prom or to their wedding.
Yeah.
It is all about the style, it's about the protocol, it's about the service that I care about, and that's what my customers and clients appreciate.
It's interesting that you say that, Stephen, because you kind of default to you'll get your client from A to B in the same way as a taxi driver will get his client from A to B.
Correct.
But the difference is the style, the service, the emotion, the aesthetics.
Yes.
And there's a lot of similarities between what you've just told me and the difference between a personal trainer or a gym instructor. You know, a gym instructor is a commendable position to be in. They introduced John or Jill to the local leisure centre or the local gym, show them around, show them machines and get them to sign up. But the difference between a gym instructor and a personal trainer, we actually go through that journey with our clients to get to A to B. Now, a client may join a gym and lose some weight and get stronger on their own device just by joining a leisure centre and going on those machines and sticking with it for a year or two. Absolutely brilliant. And a gym instructor as well should also be there just in case one of their members, because they have members, we have clients. So, and I always say personal training is not about throwing dumbbells at someone or just asking someone to do whatever they can to be lighter. Okay, it's a personal journey from A to B or whatever it is and however long it takes, but we go with that client, okay? We work together to get what they want, and hopefully there is a degree of, like you said, there's emotion, there's aesthetics, there's the feels, there's the looks, the touches, everything. So that resonates with me when you say that.
And you've used the term personal journey, and that's exactly what it is for my clients.
Yeah.
So for instance, you're coming into an airport in the early hours of the morning, you've been travelling probably most of the day before. Who do they want to see in arrivals?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have clients that say, not everyone, but a lot of my clients say, when I saw Steve in arrivals, I thought, I can relax. I'm fine for the next 3 years.
That's good. That.
Yeah. I'm in safe hands.
Yeah.
I'm on my way home. So over time, my regular clients, that's what it means. They know who's going to pick them up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they know who's going to pick them up at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
It's that reassurance.
Yeah, the reassurance that you're there. Again, if I bring that back to what we do, when a client comes into our centre for personal training, they can be pretty much reassured that we'll be waiting at reception for them.
Yes.
If we're in another appointment, we'll come out of our studios, come out the treatment room and greet you. But if they know when they get there, whether they've had a hard day at work, a hard day at home, time in traffic, they've had poor sleep, poor nutrition, low exercise, they've got an ache of pain, when they come through our door to our centre, they should at the very least be reassured we're here for them for the hour.
I can totally concur with that. I've never turned up here and there's nobody not been here.
Yeah.
It's either you or Lawrence here to greet.
Yeah.
But also, I've come in here in different mindsets. Sometimes I'm positive, sometimes a bit negative. If business is low, if I've been stuck at home for 2 or 3 days, you know what that does to me in terms of not getting into the office and doing what I love doing.
And your office being that.
But you tend to, after the hour, you tend to pick me up. And that's the same for some of my clients. They may have had a bad business meeting or a deal may not have gone right, or they're just absolutely shattered after a Transworld business trip.
Yeah.
They get back in the car and things slightly sort of get a little bit better.
Yeah, a bit of normality, a bit of they kind of they normalise, they relax. I've seen your car, just to give you an idea. I've seen Stephen's weapon of choice, your BMW. What model and make is it?
It's an M Sport 7 Series. It's
Very
long
nice.
wheelbase as well, so
Yeah.
there's loads of room in the back,
Yeah.
and it's a very comfortable private
Yeah.
space for doing work, rest or play.
It's like a luxury living room on wheels.
It is a bit, yes. It's quite nice to have that as an office.
I'm showing my age now. Now, I grew up in North London, which was only a stone's throw from Heathrow Airport. And when my grandma from New Zealand and my grandma from Canada used to come over to the UK, I used to go to the airport with my brothers and sisters and my folks, and there was always someone, if not looked like you, but someone who did what you did, and they stood with a piece of cardboard, and it would have someone's name written on it. And I know they still do it, but what I see now is these iPads or smart pads. What do you hold up, if anything?
It's funny, I've only ever had to do this twice because generally speaking, I know who I'm picking up because I've already taken them to the airport.
Yeah.
But especially with business clients, if I have I had an instance last year where one of my clients had a client coming in from India. So I didn't know what Mr. Samutra looked like.
Yeah.
So I made up a branded piece of paper. I laminated it so it looked professional.
Yeah.
I hate the scribble bit. That looks so...
They still do that though?
They do.
Oh, bits of cardboard.
Yeah,
in
bits of cardboard. I can't believe it. But most of the guys behind me are usually behind. I don't know why they stand at the back, but they're at the back with their iPads. But no, I had it all branded, big letters. So the brand, his business, my client's business.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I just thought that looked professional. It's on brand. I was there as an ambassador for my client.
Yeah.
And that gentleman was the first person he would see representing my client.
Yeah. And there should
So I thought it was important from the start that I presented well on behalf of my client I was driving.
At the very least, there, and you presented well. Talk me through. Okay, right. So, fun fact: Stephen came to our centre. We contacted each other about a year and a half ago, however long it was, and you came to our centre to make changes.
I did.
Fire away, sir.
It was actually around the time my licensing for me personally as a private hire driver, as a private hire chauffeur, and the car. The anniversary for all that is around June, July, and I was having to put the car in for its MOT. It has to have a council approved check. There are additional checks because I do what I do. The car has to be obviously licensed by the council and then checked and approved by them. Yeah. And it suddenly occurred to me that I jump on anything to do with servicing, maintenance, the safety, the reliability of the car is paramount every time, 100%, no question. And I thought, well, actually, that's all very well and good, but the car is only part of my business. Yep. I am the critical part of it, actually, because if I'm not serviced, if I'm not maintained, if I don't look after myself as I would the vehicle, then actually that means potentially I don't get up in the morning and I don't go out and I don't drive the car. Yeah. So I realised that I need to do something about it, especially at my age. I'm middle-aged and I need to look after myself. Which is why, I mean, we've known each other for nearly 5 years. Yeah. But I've never turned to you and said, right, I think it's time. But last year, I thought, yeah, it's time. And there was other issue. I just felt I needed some form of boost, exercise, and also the mental side of it as well. Not that I was mentally down, not at all, but I hadn't anticipated what exercise does for your brain. Far away, for your thoughts, and I that was the immediate benefit. Was not only the gradual but positive weight loss that I was getting, but it was also feeling stronger. It was the muscular exercises that you were putting me through that actually meant I could do some stuff that I probably could do, but that box exercise got me to stand up, and I couldn't do it. Yeah, I just want to actually join in there. When Stephen came to us, you would have been, 55, 56? I was 57. 57, excuse me. And early in our training, I think it would have been either the first session, at the very least by the second session, I asked Stephen to sit on a box, a box that we use in our line of work. It's a plyo box, and it's about anything between 16 to 20 inches off the floor, like your sofa. And I asked you just to sit on it and get up, because it's got no handrails on it, it's not got the arms at the end of a sofa. And you actually struggled. I did. And I thought to myself, in front of me is a professional chauffeur, with years and years of experience. And at the moment, so I kept thinking, well, how do you get out of your car? How do you get out of your nice chauffeur's car
without having to use handrails or hold on to things.
It has been a challenge, not so much since I've been coming here, but if I'm in the car for 3 to 4 hours and I get out of the car, I have to be very careful because I feel like I'm bent double.
Yeah, you will be, literally.
Because I am so stiff,
Yeah.
because I've been sedentary for that amount of time.
Yeah.
And the last thing my clients need is some sort of old man coming to the door to open it up.
Yeah.
So I was very conscious of that.
Yeah, sure.
And I saw a video of me once, and I'm thinking, my goodness, you are bent double. And I thought that wasn't a good look. So that was again the sort of the encouragement, the incentive for me to start sorting out posture.
Yeah.
Again, my muscular skeletal strength, be just more strong and conditioned.
Yeah.
To be able to do the job. But also I touched on the mental aspect of it, the positivity that it gave me, and that can be simply going back home and then thinking, I've got to be creative in terms of how I market myself, and I use social media a great deal.
Yeah.
But actually, I've always, I'm not saying anything that anybody doesn't know, but there's no point saying it for the sake of it.
Sure.
So
what?
Anything. You just don't just post out there for the sake of it. There'll be days that I don't do anything, but when I do post something, I want it to be engaging.
I see them. Yeah.
I want it to be exciting, perhaps, and partly educational as well. Yeah. So I found the exercise generated the brain and got the sort of creative juices going. Which was really helpful.
Why do you think that by exercising, with us or by your own design, why do you think it gets the creative juices flowing? There's actually a physiological reason why.
Well, it gets the heart rate going, gets the oxygen into the blood.
That's it.
And then it feeds the brain, and then that's the positivity. And going out on the bike is great. I love doing that.
Yeah. And
I just come back with that positive, and I could see the difference between no exercise and exercise.
It's actually something, when you mentioned that, sorry to interrupt, Stephen, it's interesting when someone comes from no exercise to start exercising. I've lost count how many times John or Jill they get almost intoxicated by it very quickly, because they've come from, like you say, no exercise, as in exercise where you will either get out of breath, break a sweat, or have a muscle ache. They might walk the dog, they might walk to the paper shop, they might walk around the aisles of their supermarket to buy their food, but that's it. So if we take someone from that, weight-bearing injuries, carrying too much body weight, too much body fat, poor cardiovascular health, they get those kind of gains, or they get that kind of intoxicated feeling very, very quickly. But what we have to do as professionals is rein them in as well, rein you in. So what happens is you don't become 100% fixated on being strong, fit and healthy, because it's not good to be fixated on anything other than staying alive. Yeah? Right. And so what we always say to a client, start gently, start softly, especially for someone of age 40 and above who hasn't exercised. What you don't want to get is repetitive strain injury. What you don't want to get is to a point when you are so fixated on your food you can't enjoy a meal with a good lady or with your friends, because those things are just as important wherein lies the balance. Now, I thought to myself, if you were to continue your profession without actually any form of exercise, a corrective form of exercise that we've prescribed for you, there's a not guaranteed, but there's a probability that your profession would have been curtailed a lot quicker than you planned, and nothing to do with the car. It would have been your body and brain.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, you knew that.
Yeah.
But when I saw you first started training you, it kind of underlined the fact of how quickly our bodies can regress or slow down. For want of a better word, accelerated decrepancy, getting old too quick for your time. And actually, that was something that was actually on the cards for you, had you not at the very least addressed it. And it was the same for me. If I didn't look after my health, I won't be able to look after clients. Tell our viewers, is there or was there a barrier or a concern before you started training? If so, what was it?
I think it was probably because I'm very good at coming up with inventions is not the right word. I didn't think I would stay the course. That was my biggest concern.
Interesting.
I knew I'd subscribed to 20 sessions, 20 hours. And I thought, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's see how it goes. 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 And I thought, let's Because I'm one of these people who say, oh, that's a great idea, I get very excited about it, I research it, I'll buy something and it's still in its box.
Yeah,
12
it's a
months
very
later.
human thing to do that though.
Yeah, whether it's figuratively speaking or physically, I've still got things in boxes.
That you haven't used.
Yeah, only a couple of things,
Yeah.
but I think it was a good idea at the time, but
Yeah.
actually that fizzled out.
Yeah.
What I'm really pleased about is actually I've kept it going because I understand the significance of it,
Yeah.
because I'm not thinking of today but also tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when you look at the job I do, it is actually very unhealthy.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I'll tell you now, I'll drive to Heathrow, I'll have a break, but I'll drive straight back.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to jump in there, Steve.
And if I'm tired, don't worry, if I'm tired, I will stop.
Yeah,
But generally speaking, I will drive back.
Yeah, that must take good. Stephen's actually explained this to me in appointments. I find that to actually drive from Lincolnshire to Heathrow Airport and back, which is what, 7 hours of driving, if not more?
Yes.
Of actual movement, yeah?
Yes.
And the fact you can do that and stay focused and safe and ensure that your clients who you've picked up or you're dropping off, they're enjoying the experience. That must take a lot of mental concentration. I personally would struggle to do that.
It takes a lot of preparation. Preparation.
Give me an example.
Yeah, I will always plan my time because we're not regulated anyway. I could go to bed and have an hour's sleep, get up, take you to the airport. I could wing it like that, but obviously that's not responsible. That's not safe.
It's not
and I've heard drivers who have fallen asleep at the wheel and the consequences they're in.
Yeah.
So I will always prepare for big days. So if I know I'm doing a lot of miles, I'll have an easier day the day before. I'll make sure that I'm rested afterwards as much as I can the day after.
Yeah.
And not work until perhaps that afternoon or the evening following.
Sure.
So it's being sensible with my rest, my sleep, because it can be difficult. If I've got to get up at 2 in the morning, then what time do I go to bed?
I like it. And do you do that in winter as well?
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine getting up at 2?
I do it more in winter because actually people want who wants to be driving it?
That's interesting.
3 in the morning when it's
That's a
like
good point,
minus 2, minus 3.
Yeah, someone might not mind driving up and down the motorway in the middle of summer, with aircon on, windows down, or whatever it is. But that's an interesting point. You might do more long haul drives in winter, in poor light conditions, and when your body's not physiologically designed to be up and awake throughout the night.
I have had bookings for clients' parents. They don't want their 70-year-old, 80-year-old plus driving in winter or in the dark.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I've been hired by clients to drive their parents.
Yeah, that's giving me food.
They want that reassurance.
Yeah,
and as I said, they don't want their parents driving at that time of year in those conditions. So.
Is there any? Are there any differences now between when you get up for an early morning shift or you start a late night shift in your preparation now? Now you're fitter and healthier that you didn't do before training.
Nutrition.
Example.
That's the biggest thing. I was filling myself with carbs at night.
Yeah.
And I was getting the reflux when I used to go to bed.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I couldn't work out why until I came here and you said, well, you need to cut out the rice, the pasta, the noodles, the potato, all that. That was an easy go-to meal in the evening.
Yeah, and it's cheap, easy, portable.
Exactly. You just need a bit of protein and then you're... So I cut that out, which meant that I was sleeping better. The exercise helped. I was sleeping better because I was actually using my muscles and tiring more easily.
Okay, so
that nutrition was a big thing.
Yeah, less carbohydrates. Just to, for those that don't know anything about nutrition, a carbohydrate is like a form of sugar, and if you're taking on moderate to large amounts of carbohydrates, like the aforementioned foods you just said. Okay, what that does, that takes oxygen away from the brain because your body's oxygen and blood are working towards the digestive system to try and start to digest, okay, that macronutrient, that big nutrient of pasta, bread, potatoes, stuff like that. And ordinarily, that can add body weight and body fat anyhow if a person's not exercising regular. But yours was eating it, then trying to go to sleep or go to bed, and then trying to drive. And what it can do, it can actually not just draw oxygen from the brain, it can lull your body into such a state of almost where you feel like you're going to fall asleep. Office workers who fall asleep at the desk, they never fall asleep at the desk at 9 a.m. It's always after lunch for 10 minutes, half an hour, because they've had their dinner and they go back and sit at their screen in a warm office, and now their body's full of carbohydrates. And they're going to start that long 2 to 4 hour window of time to try to digest it. So now the oxygen has gone from the brain and the blood's going towards the abdominals or the gut or the colon eventually. So I actually mentioned to you, one of the best things you could do, as long as you're not going to go into cardiac arrest, and that would be to take cold showers. For those that know me, I'm a firm believer in a bit of cold therapy, cold showers in the morning. Maybe not on Christmas Day, but just generally will wake you up better than any tea, coffee, stimulant, or breakfast. Yeah. Now, granted, who wants to be having a cold shower at 2 a.m. when you're going to wake the world up? But generally, the worst thing to do is to have a hot shower and eat big, heavy loads of food before we go for a drive, because you get tired.
Yeah.
What differentiates you now from the other professional chauffeur who lives in Northampton, London, or Bristol of a similar age? Do you think they're exercising or looking after their bodies? Do you keep in touch with other professionals?
I do, but I don't know what sort of exercise regime they have. I suppose we all have our own ways of keeping on top of the physical demands that we have.
Yeah.
The not lethargy, but tiredness that it can bring. But as I said, I can't speak for them, but I know what works for me in terms of exercising and having that rest and watching what I eat.
Yeah.
That's been the major difference.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
And if that gives me a point of difference versus my colleagues stroke competitors, then so be it.
I'm sort of envisaging your competitors, not competitors, your fellow professionals up and down the country, going to an airport and pulling into the service station somewhere in South Mims or somewhere in whatever it is, and having a pot noodle and a Mars bar, or Ginster's pasties and things like that, are hopefully of someone of your level, your compatriots up and down the country. They're not doing that.
Well, I can only compare
Eat the
physiques.
Chinese in the car.
I can only, when I'm standing around in arrivals, I can only compare physiques.
Yeah.
So if I have a look at they're generally men.
Yeah.
There are some women drivers, but they're generally men. I look at them and think, oh yes.
Yeah. Well,
you could do with some Tristan time. I'm not exactly, I've got work to do on that front myself, but at least I've lost some weight. I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah.
My muscle mass is up, and there are other stats that are encouraging. So, but I can only sort of think, you do need to watch yourself.
Equally, a very important part of your training, of Stephen's training, has been mobility and flexibility.
Oh yeah.
You had curvature of the spine. You had poor flexibility at the hip joints, the knee joints, and the ankle joints. Three big joints, hips, knees, and ankles. And Stephen's mobility was at very best poor. And coincided with curvature of the spine from the neck, the cervical spine, through the thoracic into your lumbar spine as well. And what that would do, it had already done. And with that as well, the head that is a weight tends to pull forward. The head can weigh up to a stone, 14 pounds. You've got masses and spaces. So that curvature of the spine would exacerbate it really, really quickly. It would have actually got so bad by the time you was in your late 50s, early 60s, it may be of nearly physiologically impossible to actually bring back. So I'd say to someone who spends a lot of time, whether they sit in a car or sit at an office desk or a bus or a taxi, whatever it is, he or she should do whatever they can, whether that be for an hour a day, half an hour every other day or something like that, or even what they call exercise snacks, where if you've got 5 minutes that you don't need to be sat down, be upright. Because those good habits that we force back into our body can give us longevity, not just for our health, but for our professions.
I do those exercises at the airport, by the way.
You don't? Oh yeah.
You know the ones where you say step onto the balls of your feet, go up and down, to my ankles.
Knee raises, wrists.
I bet people in Costa thinking, what the heck's that guy doing?
No, because
actually, I've been in the car for 3 or 4 hours. I need to be doing that. I can't. I do stand. I don't sit when I get there because I'm thinking, why are you sitting down? You've been sitting down for 3 hours. You've got another 3 to 4 hours.
That is so.
I do the stretches.
I do it all the time. I do that. I do it.
I got to a pillar as well and stand up.
Yeah.
But it is about, and what I particularly appreciate is your preconditioning and post strengthening process. So if you know I've got a long couple of days coming up, you will tailor my strength and conditioning according, because you know I'm going to be doing some hours in the car. Likewise, afterwards, you always are, where have you been, what have you done, right, we need to do this to bring you back, get your shoulders going, get your hips manoeuvring. So that's really good.
Yeah.
That's not something I could come up with on my own in a gym.
Sure.
That's where a personal trainer comes into its own, in one respect.
I have actually trained company reps who have spent a lot of time driving. The difference being, though, is that they stay in the hotel overnight or they come back home the same day. And generally, anything between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m, they are either in the hotel, in the destination in the country, wherever they are, or they're back home. They're not getting up at 2 a.m. or going to sleep at 4 a.m.
But I was a sales rep for 25 years.
Wow.
In certain respects.
Yeah.
At certain levels. And I'll tell you now the difference between what I was in and out of the car all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would be calling on 12 to 16 customers every day.
Yeah.
So my car time was minimal.
Yeah.
Today,
Big difference,
I'm in the car. I know, and that's partly why I do the job, because I'm used to driving. I quite enjoy it most of the time, and but I'm in the car for ages now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was in and out, in and out. In fact, I've probably never been fitter than what I was.
No. Well, okay. What right? If you're you're on your way to the airport, and not just that, we talk about airport runs all the time. It's a subject matter we're both interested in.
Yeah, I'm not just an airport transfer.
Tell us what else you're doing.
Well, I do special occasions. We're coming up to prom season, so that was a busy time for me last year.
I'm taking all the
youngsters, all the school leavers to their school prom.
Do they behave?
Yeah, very much so. I never take them back. It's their parents' job.
Who pays for them?
Usually their parents.
Yeah.
It's sometimes gifted as well. So the young adults don't know I'm coming.
Oh, okay.
Which is really nice. So it can be a surprise gift for their children.
Wow. Yeah.
I do obviously special occasions like going out to dinner, wedding anniversaries, big birthdays. Yeah.
Yeah.
I take people to sporting events. I take people to concerts. I've got a concert coming, or 2 or 3 actually this year.
Right. Okay.
I obviously weddings is a big part of my business split. So I do weddings as well. Anything journey that want a little bit of added style, a bit of panache.
Yeah.
Be treated like royalty, be special. Some guy turning up in a funny hat on your doorstep.
No, it's I've seen it. It looks smart.
It adds, I think, style and value to your day, to your journey.
Who's your ideal client? Silence, crickets.
Yeah, you asked me this last week, and I stumbled over it. I think my ideal client is somebody who comes back for more. They want more. Okay. So my ideal client is somebody that rebooks me time and time again, because they know what they're going to get. They know the standard, the level of service that I offer.
They know, like, and trust.
Yes.
Is that the right way of wording it?
That is a very good way of doing it. They know, like, and trust, because none of us buy some people that they don't know, like, and trust.
Unless you're buying sort of the internet or something.
True, but then you'll have read a review or two. Yeah. You'll have read some testimonials that will give you that confidence if you don't know the company, business or person that you're buying from. So it is all about trying me for the first time, and if you can prove it on the first occasion. I've always said to you, I suppose my ideal client's a new client. Sure. Because that new client, I very quickly want to become a regular client. Okay, at the other end of that, what's not your ideal client? No names. Somebody who doesn't respect the space they're in. Okay. I suppose somebody who misbehaves. Yep. I've had luckily only 2 occasions where I've had somebody that's misbehaved in the car. That's not a lot, What's that? 1 every 10 years? Well, over 5 years. That's not too bad. Yeah. Is that one too many, or is it? Can you factor that in? You're always worried how far they're going to take it. Sure. And he was sitting next to me, because there were 4 in the car, so that didn't help. Oh, okay, so it's up front, riding shotgun. Yeah. Well, it's the only time I've had my hat whipped off. Yeah. Do you want? Okay. Because he turned around and he took my hat off as he turned. Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. And I thought, no, that's enough. But that's very rare. You got them there. That's very rare. I have a lot of memories that are great memories. Yeah. And some good stories. That's good though. To have we have it in our line of work. We have memories, stories. It's actually been a learning experience for me to train you, because you're the first professional chauffeur that I've trained or worked with, and I've learned quite a bit about your line of work, and I've learned it from someone who actually does it. I've not read about it or heard about it, or I've been on Google or YouTube. You actually do it to put food on the table, for want of a better phrase, yeah? Okay, and you're a family man as well. You've got a wife and a daughter, so Stephen also has to juggle or manage normal family life as well. Yes. Whatever normal is. Yes. Yeah. And it's actually a testament that you're 58 this year. You're 58 this year, 2 years and change from 60. Sorry, that's just the math. Yeah. And you're still fit enough and switched on to be able to drive people up and down the country and make their experience a pleasurable one. What would you say to yourself
if you were the age of 21 or early 20s, getting into your line of work? What would you say to John, who lives in Dorset, who wants to become a chauffeur, and he's 21 now? What do you tell John?
Well, the first thing I would say is that actually, once you're in the car, ironically, that's the easy bit.
Okay.
Is driving your client to their destination.
What's the hard bit?
It's the work that I've got to do before I actually get into the car.
Yeah.
So you need to have the skill, the confidence, the creativity to be able to generate that business.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to go out and sell yourself, sell the service,
Yeah.
sell the concept of what you do. And that took me a long time. It took me 12 to 18 months to actually get
the basics of it.
Yeah, I only did 2,500 miles in the car the
Right.
first year. People say, what?
And you were used to driving as well.
Yeah, but it took a lot of
Different,
leather work,
Yeah.
not rubber
Okay,
work.
yeah.
You know, I wore out my shoes quicker than I did the tyres on the car. Just
Interesting.
generate networking, wedding fairs,
Yeah.
expos, going to seminars, webinars. That's where we met.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Free,
Training
free
course, yeah.
stuff that marketing and agencies were putting on.
Yeah, it's worked out
Let's
all right.
learn. But it was a chance for me to get out.
Yeah. Excellent.
And fly the flag and get visible. So that's what I would say. The hard work
It's not in the car.
happens before you get in the car.
Gotcha.
By the time I get in the car, I've been paid. I've
Yeah.
then got to deliver.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
But if you don't do all the hard work that leads up to that, then there's no point, even having the car.
I find it interesting, at the same time quite enlightening as well, that you are okay with using the words to sell your service, to sell yourself, because there is, Stephen, sometimes I've seen or read or even heard that people in professions, in service and business, don't like using the word sell, or they try to do their best to get away from saying that they're not here to sell a service or a product. And I thought, well, what is it you're giving me? What is it you're offering then? Because if we can't sell ourselves as people and or our services in whichever order, then no one knows what we do. And therefore we go to bed with no dinner. There's no Netflix and chill.
It was a big challenge for me because I was very much business to business selling, where it is about features and benefits, closing for the deal.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with the general public, it is very much inbound. So you don't sell directly to people.
Okay.
And one of the best lessons, or one of the best things somebody ever said to me is one of my first network meetings is, Steve, I get what you do, but why would I use you?
Interesting. Okay.
And I stood there and I thought, I can't actually answer that. So I need to go away and actually re-propose what I'm doing, or rather reword how I propose what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. You've got
But actually, it's not the what you do, it's why would I use you? And I thought, you're so right. Why would you use me?
Yeah.
So go back and what is the benefit to the customer?
Mm-hmm.
In whatever scenario. So if they're going out to dinner, why would they use you?
Yeah.
If they're going to the airport, why would they use you?
Yeah.
If it's their wedding, why would they go to the extra expense of having a wedding car?
When we talked about, it was about 3 or 4 months ago, I can't remember, but we had a conversation in one of your appointments, and I tried to do the math, and I probably had a goal in my mind anyhow. And what I wanted to work out was, when someone pays X amount for you to, it was about airport runs, to take them to the airport, irrespective of the time of day, and then pick them up. I looked at the prices of getting a train from up north, somewhere in the Midlands or Yorkshire, down to King's Cross for two, we'll just say for 2 people, and then a return train from King's Cross back to wherever it is they live, and the cost of going from King's Cross to Heathrow for both, and the cost of staying overnight at the airport hotel if they had a 6 or 7 a.m. flight. That's going to be £100 to £200. And I thought to myself, it actually works out cheaper to be picked up at your front door in luxury by you and picked up at the airport on the return. I think it actually works out, we're just talking pounds, pennies and dollars and cents, it works out cheaper on the money, but equally, probably more important, Stephen, it's actually cheaper in terms of time as well.
And stress.
And the physical stress.
And the logistics, because that journey plan takes some planning.
Yeah, I got back from Japan, as you know, 2 weeks ago. And when I came back from Japan, I arrived at Heathrow at 6:30 in the morning our time. And I'd been travelling on a night flight for 14 hours non-stop. I then had to get through from Heathrow, I had to go to Farringdon, switch at Farringdon because the Piccadilly line stopped at Acton. I had to switch at Farringdon on the Elizabethan line and then change and then get to St Pancras. I then had 2.5 hours to wait until my train. Then I had a 2-hour, 20-minute journey from King's Cross to Lincoln, changing over at Peterborough as well. And I thought to myself, you know something, in terms of time, and bearing in mind, the train ticket cost me 40 something pound. It cost me about £7 or £8 from the train ticket from Heathrow to King's Cross, then about best part of £40 from the train from King's Cross to Lincoln, and then I had to walk with my full-size expedition pack, which by the time at that point had about 13 kilos of stuff.
But that's lightweight compared to some of the luggage I put in the boot.
Yeah.
So people are man-hauling large suitcases, carry-on, and any other little handbags.
Yeah.
Doing that.
It actually worked out.
Yeah, it probably would work out slightly cheaper than me, but.
And then the time.
But it's the effort, the time. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think if you take two people like that are going, let's take a couple, a 40-year-old couple, they're going to America tomorrow morning. It's an AM flight. It's a 7 AM flight. They'd have to be at the airport for between 3 and 4 AM, which means they'd have to leave their house at midnight or 1 AM, which means they've got to stay awake all through the night or try and be asleep by 11 PM for 1.5 hours sleep, and then drive or get the trains all the way, and then they've got to repeat that on a night flight coming back. And as we all know, no one's excited about coming back.
And they'll have the time difference as well, because their day will be 5, 6, 7 hours longer.
Let's add something into that. Also, it takes time and effort for that your clients, your customers, to recover from long haul flights, and surely that is minimised or at least made a bit better by being picked up at the airport and driven to the front door.
I'll never forget, there was one client that I thought was coming in from they were coming in from a European destination because the flight was from a European capital city. What I hadn't realised is they had actually flown from the States via that European, so they had 2 legs to their journey.
Right.
By the time that client came out, into the expression on their face, when they looked at me,
they were like a zombie.
No, they weren't. It was the sheer relief.
Oh, I see
I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Yes, people smiled, but this was different. The person actually just looked totally relieved.
Yeah, gotcha.
And just gave me their luggage and said, didn't say this, but the body language said, take me home.
yeah.
And I thought, but you've only been in the air for 2 hours. Yeah. Oh no, they'd been in the air for most of the day.
Gotcha. Right. Okay.
So they were shattered.
What's all right. Let's get off on the actual driving.
Yeah.
Okay. We know you do a lot of prep as well, and there's probably a bit of post work in terms of keeping in touch with that client or that customer for the future as well.
Yes, there is.
Okay. What's the career now on the spot? If you weren't a chauffeur, what would you be?
That's a very good question, because I don't know.
All right. Let's come back to that. There's no particular answer.
I enjoy, if I didn't drive a car, I enjoy the creativity that I need to have to post on social media, do campaigns, do marketing, whatever it might be. I've always been creative as a person. Yeah. And I think you have to be in sales, and you have to, especially when I was in catering sales. Right. So it was about creating menus, creating an ambience in a restaurant or a pub, and helping the landlord or the chef or the cook to create.
So you might have been in the Ritz-Carlton.
Not quite.
Not in the kitchen.
But something that's creative. I probably would have worked in some sort of social media capacity, but I don't. I haven't actually stopped the world to think about that one. That's a challenge. But ultimately, I've always enjoyed, ever since my first job was with the John Lewis Partnership, and gosh, the training there was second, and it's probably second to none in terms of the customer comes first. Yeah. It's all about the service.
John Lewis,
At the time, we were never knowingly undersold. We were the kings of the high street. I'm going back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Others have caught up, but the discipline, the skills, and the attention to detail, and the service, serving the customer. Yeah. That was all we were about. And then when I went to breaks, serving the customer,
always,
delivering to the caterers, all about the service. It was the product, but the service behind it.
I can actually testify to that, because when I've, on a rare occasion, maybe once a year, twice a year, if I'm in Nottingham and I go into John Lewis in Nottingham, ordinarily found the service to be quite good. Product is what I wanted anyhow. So just a little note for John Lewis's HR and training. They also make very good chauffeurs as well. Okay, you have a career, right? Off topic again. Another slight slant. Okay, what's your go-to movie? You're left on your own devices. It's not Mrs. Jones, it's not your daughter, it's just you on your own for a Friday night or Saturday night. You've had your dinner, feet up, you're going to watch a film. What goes on?
It's generally war.
Okay.
I like war movies.
You like war, do you?
Yes.
You
No,
like
I
to see
don't like
people-
war, but
nations.
if I'm in for the long haul, and at the moment, I mean, I watched Saving Private Ryan
I
for
knew you
obvious
would say
reason,
that. Yeah.
because obviously we've just celebrated the 80th anniversary.
Oh, okay. Of Deep.
Of D-Day Land,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
June
All right.
6th. I cliche Where Eagles Dare. I love that film.
Clint Eastwood.
That's more sentimental because I remember Dad bringing that home.
Okay.
We lived abroad for a lot. My dad was in the foreign office. He was a diplomat, and we at a certain point we were in Warsaw in the 70s,
Right.
which was quite exciting.
I bet it was. Yeah.
Cold War communist
Yeah.
era.
Your dad was a
And,
foreign diplomat.
yeah.
Wow.
And so I had the privilege, and I was very fortunate to be able to travel the world up until I was 18 with Mum and Dad.
Superb. Yeah.
And I remember he brought this film. The only entertainment we had was he could hire a projector and old reel film from the embassy. And he brought home Where Eagles Dare, and we put it up on the dining room wall. And I just remember that.
It's a very good film. Yeah.
I just love it. I just think it's just great. So I enjoy it. So something a bit combative.
Okay. So combat, war, attrition. When I
Sounds
think
great, doesn't it?
Well, when I think of foreign diplomats in different countries and movies, the two connect. I always think of the original, the movie The Omen.
Yeah.
Because Gregory Peck.
He was the American ambassador to London. That's
yeah,
right.
and look how that ended up.
Yeah, I know.
All right, okay. So,
Yeah.
okay. Your music. What you're playing on your own, you're either driving and you're going to play some music because you've dropped off your customer or your client, or you're at home or you're out on a listening to music while what you're playing for yourself.
Do you know, you're going to probably laugh at this, but
No.
I play classical music.
Excellent. I listen to classical sometimes. Yeah.
Because it doesn't need to be boring and stringy
No.
and stuff. I can play some, pretty modern contemporary classic, or just some pretty stirring stuff.
Great.
But sometimes, because part of the job is communication.
Yeah.
And I'd say to that 21-year-old, you need to be communicative because you can have anyone in the back seat.
That's your 21-year-old self as a new chauffeur coming into the
so
career.
you need to be able to communicate at different levels.
Gotcha.
Not only that, you need to know when to shut up as well.
All right, yeah.
And my
less is more.
latest review actually picks that up. So it is important to people to be engaging, to have conversation, to know a little bit about a lot helps.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I learned that from
So
college
if you know your car is an Arsenal fan, you make sure you know how Arsenal got on at the weekend if you're driving, because you know. Not to mention it if it didn't go well, but to mention it if it did.
Which is every year.
It's attention to detail like that, but also knowing when to shut up and being respectful that perhaps that they want to have a chat in the back of the car. The guy needs to ring his PA, or she needs to have a call with colleagues, a conference call in the car. So you just need to know when to be quiet.
We've looked at your go-to film choice. We've looked at music, classical. When I think of classical and war, I put two together. Gustav Holst, Mars, the bringer of war. I'm going to play that when I get home.
Yes,
fun fact.
If you want stirring, that's brilliant.
I've got that on vinyl. I think about 3 or 4 different copies. Okay.
So why I mentioned the chat, I can spend all the journey down to London talking.
Right.
So what's the last thing I want to do on the way back? So I can't talk because there's nobody to talk to. But what I mean is, it's just nice to have that serenity, that calm, that peace of classical music as you battle your way back up the M1.
All right, and that in itself is a war. Getting up the A1 or M1, that's a battle. Yeah.
I guess the point I get to Rickmansworth and think, right, which way are we going?
Yeah.
Is it A1, M1?
Okay. Right. The payment is irrespective. Okay, you've been paid and you've been paid more than normal. This next client, who is your ultimate? We're talking someone that's well known, a celebrity or a whatever, someone that the people would know of at the very least. Who do you get, dead or alive, as a passenger, a client?
What do you mean, an ideal one? I'd be a sports person.
Who?
It would be a rugby player.
Yeah.
And it would be somebody like Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis. Is he any good?
Jiffy, yeah, tremendous.
Yeah. Who's he play for?
Well,
Wales.
He played for Wales. He played for Cardiff, Wales. He played for Wigan. Wigan. Oh gosh, I'm not sure about that. And also Great Britain. So a great legend in both codes of rugby, but also.
Is he still with us? Is he
very much so. But I know, and there are certain rugby players I don't think I could have a good conversation with because they're not particularly good conversationalists. But Jiffy has always got something good to say, always something interesting to say, and I know I could have a conversation with him. I've actually met him briefly in a bar in Cardiff. We were down there for a meeting, and I met him. So in the 2 or 3 minutes I engaged with him, I could tell he was somebody that you could just have a good old fireside chat with.
Excellent. All right, let me throw a little slant in there. You get one more client. Again, money's not the subject matter. You've been paid more than normal, and it's a woman. client. Who do you pick? While you're thinking, I'll think of a client, a woman client, who in her peak, I would have liked to have trained. The actress Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're a great film buff, so I'm not
film
surprised
fan, and
your choices come from the film
Yeah,
business.
two of the, in my opinion, two of the greatest movies ever made, Alien and Aliens, and she was technically the lead role in both.
Yeah.
Certainly the second one.
Yeah.
And I think Sigourney Weaver, being an individual that's lasted and stood the test of time in Hollywood, I'll be very interested to train her. Even now, if she walked in, I think, what is she, mid-60s, late 60s? Yeah. Okay, so
I would go for somebody, probably a woman in business.
okay, yeah.
And I say that because I've got to say, I've learnt a lot from. I've got a couple of. I've got certainly one lady client who I've learnt a lot from.
Yeah.
Because she runs her own business very successfully, and is very good at coming up with new ideas.
Right.
And in 2020,
Yeah.
between the two lockdowns, I did a lot of driving for her. And the stuff that she was coming out with
Really?
and
In
thinking
business?
about, and she had a new project on her horizon. She was looking at remarketing her business.
Yeah.
She was really on it, and I learned so much from her.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And I'm always discreet with the stuff, and she would never mind me picking up the phone or messaging her and saying, look, can I just take a couple of ideas from you, because they're so relevant to my business. And it really taught me how to perhaps not reposition what you do, but refresh what you do.
Excellent. I'm the same.
And so
you've got to.
she knew when she was hit the ground running that she had something new to shout about.
Right. Okay.
She was already ahead of her competitors,
Excellent.
fiercely competitive,
Yeah.
but really forthright in terms of driving her business.
Right. Okay.
So I can't think of Mary Portas springs to mind.
There it is then.
I don't know whether I could have her in the back of the car or not, whether she would, but somebody that's from the business world.
All right.
And the managers I've worked for in life have always, the women I've worked for as my direct managers, they've always got the best out of me.
Okay.
Because I've really admired what they do and how they do it. And what I mean by that is women, oh gosh, I've got to be so careful, but it was the personal side. It was the picking up the phone of an evening saying, are you okay?
Sure.
And yeah, I had a once male sales I used to do that, but it was actually knowing, putting time back into their team that I really respected, and kicking them up the backside if they weren't hitting their KPIs, but also what can I do to on the more sort of personal side?
Yeah. Perhaps a more gentle approach, or at the very least a softer or less ones and zeros. Yeah. But they are important as well, though. Like you said, your
as much carrot as stick.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
I can't be specific, but somebody along those lines.
I'll tell you what. I think let's keep that. Let's keep. You have Mary Portas, and I'll have Sigourney Weaver at their prime. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? And you have, what's his name? Who's the
Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis. And if it was for me, a male client, a man that I would like to train just to actually spend time around, I'm going to say I'm going to get away from movies because it's possibly my go-to. I'd probably go for the music score composer Hans Zimmer. Who's still with us now, but then I'm getting back to movies. But he's a score writer, probably the best in the world at the moment, the natural successor to Ennio Morricone, RIP, but Hans Zimmer, to spend time with someone and learning from them, not to try and learn to be a composer, but to see how they visualise what they do, and at the same time, it'd be fun for me to train him, So,
yeah, sure.
All right, okay, well, you've got your body in better condition, at the very least in better condition, hopefully one day in good condition. Your mindset's better, okay? Your profession, I'm hoping, is easier now because you're more physically mobile and fitter, right? And also you've learned some skills in fitness, self-discipline, in nutrition and sleep and mobility. If at the very least you've learned that from us, it's a job well done. We've not turned you into prime Arnold Schwarzenegger overnight.
No, but it also helps to keep you alert. So you've got to deliver the same experience time and time again, but also how can you improve on that experience? And it could be something very simple. I'll give you an example of that. I'm very much about protocol, and that can mean, and when I've left the customer, I take my suit jacket off and hang it in the back.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a bit more comfortable.
Too hot.
Yeah, or driving home, I
Yeah.
don't need to be wearing a jacket. But I once took that off in view of the customer,
Right.
and I thought, no, that doesn't look right.
Okay.
They may have been trundling off to departures,
Yeah.
but they looked back and saw me without my jacket on, and I
Right.
thought, no, that's not right.
You had a shirt on.
Yes, of course.
And a tie?
Yes,
Okay.
but I had and I was thinking, it's just, I'm probably being silly,
Sure.
but I
cover all
but
bases.
I have to be consistent, and I'm very careful when I take my hat off.
Sure. Interesting.
I make sure that I'm well away before I do that.
Oh.
Because I say that because when I first started networking, I was wearing just an open shirt, V-neck jumper, suit trousers, and smart shoes.
Still smart, yeah.
Yes, but somebody said to me, and then somebody said to me, you need to go as you are going to turn up to their house.
The
to
hat
their
and the
office.
jacket and the.
They need to see you as you would be on their doorstep.
Wow, okay,
whether
yeah.
it's the office or you got to meet. That's the expectation.
Yeah.
So, and thereafter, I have always worn a suit
All right. Yeah.
to networking because that is my brand. And a couple of times I didn't, and a good colleague of mine said, "Oh, you're not wearing your suit today," and he picked up on it straight away.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I once trained.
So I'm sorry. The reason I'm telling you that is because it's made me more alert to that, and
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
exercising it keeps you sharper.
Yeah. You're thinking of all eventualities.
Yeah.
You're removing barriers for people to undertake your services or to do it again. You're removing barriers by being smart in your appearance
Yeah.
at the time.
It probably you won't notice it, but I
Right.
do.
I once trained a woman about 9 years ago. She'd have been late 30s, and she ran a car dealership. I don't think she owned it. She was the manageress or whatever. And she told me with a straight face that she didn't allow her car salesmen, and most of them were men from what I heard. And this was about 8-9 years ago. This wasn't 1960s. She didn't allow them, even in the hottest days in summer, to wear short sleeve white shirts, even if they had their company tie on. And I said, so they're at work, at the desk, they're selling cars, they've got an ironed, crisp, short sleeve white shirt, and they've got their company tie on, and they're sat there, and they've dealt the client, and they sold the car that they want, they've got them into finance and gap insurance and whatnot. And she said, I'm still not happy, because she wanted them to wear long sleeve shirts. And I said, why is that? Is it because they've got the forearms tattooed up and whatnot? She says, no. I don't want anyone's hairy arms showing at a desk when someone comes to buy a car. I said, does a guy who's come to spend 35 grand on a car not buy it because one of your guys, he's got hair on his arm? And because I put it back to her like that. And she said, it might not, but I don't want to leave it to chance.
It's funny you should say that. We had that rule at John Lewis, and it's probably an army thing, shirt sleeve order.
Right.
So when the weather got hot enough, the men were allowed to remove their jackets and wear short sleeves
Right. Yes.
instead of long sleeves with
Right.
a tie on. I think that's where I get it from.
Gotcha.
Because we were almost granted the permission to dress, not down,
Yeah.
but
Just
to take the jacket off.
Yeah.
And the ladies, I can't remember what the ruling was for them, but they were allowed to wear slightly different clothes. And I think that's probably what it is. The client hasn't almost given me the permission to take the hat off and the
Right.
jacket off.
Okay.
So why have you done it? That's probably where I get it
Yeah.
from. It's some sort of weird protocol thing that
Yeah.
I just...
It'll
It's
work
about
for some.
discipline.
Yeah.
If I didn't have discipline and protocol, then there's no point doing what I do. Well, there is, but you know what I mean. It's a standard that I want to drive.
There's a full cycle there.
There's a value.
You mentioned it's about discipline. You're disciplined enough to stay in your full attire, jacket
Yeah.
and hat,
Yeah.
even when the client's finished,
Yeah.
to some degree, until they're out of earshot
Yeah.
or eye shot. But let's just backtrack and go full circle. Up until a year and a half ago, you didn't have the self-discipline to look after your health.
No.
Interesting. An educated, disciplined
Or
man.
I hadn't realised the importance of it.
Yeah.
I thought we all think we're still 25.
It's not immediate. It doesn't matter. I'll fix
no,
it.
I'm actually you feel as though you've got the body of somebody considerably younger.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think I realised I didn't.
Yeah. Everyone thinks that until they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I didn't like the way I looked, and there was this video that I actually saw myself on.
Right.
My goodness.
Yeah. You got a full head of hair. A sense of humour. Well,
You need a sense of humour as well.
To do what you do.
Look, as I said, it goes back to why should I use you? I'd like to think that I'm very much part of that.
sure.
There has to be a personality involved.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just think it adds to the experience if you can, as I say, know a little bit about a lot so you can start a conversation off. But if you don't, ask questions, it's lovely.
Where can our
find out
viewers?
about their business.
Yeah, where can they find you? Give us the links to.
Well, it's white7lincoln.co.uk. I'm on social media with the same title, so I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn.
I've seen you on all of those.
So
yeah.
Stephen Jones, White7Lincoln on LinkedIn. So I believe there'll be links to my social media, because that really gives you, that sort of paints or colours in the picture.
Yeah.
You see me in action, you see the type of situations.
Yeah. I've seen your posts, I like them, I think they're interesting.
Yeah.
I generally mean that as well, because I'm interested in what you do.
Yeah.
And the pictures always look good, always makes me want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Or do
And
something.
You said selling isn't, and I totally agree with you. You can't sell to people, it's sowing the seed.
Sure, okay, right.
So it's about, actually, if you're ever in this situation or you've got a pain point, and I came at it from the viewpoint of a consultant stroke doctor the other week.
Yeah.
And you had a pain, so how am I going to solve that pain?
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah.
it was about,
A problem solver?
Yeah,
A
exactly.
service provider?
Yes, yeah, we've all got our pain points in terms of travelling from A to B, whatever it might be, for whatever reason. That what I do could actually solve that pain.
I'm going to round it up, Stephen, and it's been enjoyable having you on, because it took a bit of tweaking to get you through the door as a client, and then I think it was a lot easier now to get you through the door to come on the podcast, because you know me.
Yes.
And you know the geography of our building.
Yes.
So viewers, you can get Stephen, Lincolnshire, if not UK's best chauffeur. All right, okay. At White7Lincoln, Stephen Jones. You can find him in all the links that we're going to put inside, and get in contact with this guy and travel in style, comfort, and then repeat and refer him to your loved ones. Right, so my pleasure. And if you'd like to, great. If you'd like to subscribe and share to the channel, it's Over 40s Fitness Podcast with Tristan Logue, and taking it from Stephen Jones, White7Lincoln. Thanks for coming, sir.
Very welcome. Thank you.
My pleasure. Until the next one. Time to get it done.
Yes.